If you're really hurting right now, you're not alone. We're all hurting so fucking much right now. We're reeling, heartsick, and overwhelmed by the state of the world. I can see it in the posts and in the comments, and I can for sure as hell feel it in myself. I've never swung so extremely between pain and rage and despair and vengeance. I know many of us are feeling our own emotional extremes, walking the edge of our own saturation points. And I'm not going to pretend I'm speaking from some calm, untouched place. I'm carrying the same very real sorrow, anger, fear, and confusion that many of us are right now. My heart is heavy, and my nervous system wants to take these bastards down. So listen, none of us need to pull ourselves together here. We don't need to make our pain pretty and presentable for others to handle well. We don't need to pretend this doesn't feel like just too fucking much. I want you to lean in. I want you to feel held and understood. I want you to know that you're not the only one and that you don't need to feel all of this all alone, no matter what you're hearing from other people in your life, because this is a lot and I can sit with you in this. And if part of you feels like you don't even know how to be with this much pain, of course this feels unbearable. Of course you don't know how to live with this yet. No one taught us how to hold grief at this scale. And yes, most of our emotions right now boil down to grief on many levels and to many scales. You're allowed to feel this, but you don't have to hold it alone. One of the reasons this feels so overwhelming is that we're not dealing with just one thing. We're being asked to process multiple forms of harm at the same time, and our nervous systems aren't built to do that easily, especially not day after fucking day. There's been so much loss of safety, loss of trust, loss of the shared rules and values about what's acceptable and what's not. Without a doubt, the world doesn't feel the way it did a year ago. That kind of loss isn't just abstract. It lives inside our bodies. It shows up as heaviness, exhaustion, grief without a landing page, and a profound ache that never quite goes away. There's also threat, the very real and palpable threat of violence, force, coercion, financial pressures, and lack of protection from the fucking people who are supposed to protect us. But there's also the ambient, ongoing threat, the kind that keeps your system braced all the time, the kind that says something isn't right and it's probably going to get worse. That kind of threat doesn't always cause panic. More often, it causes fatigue, irritability, trouble sleeping, a sense that it's hard to ever fully rest because our systems are constantly braced for what's coming next. There's another layer of pain that doesn't get talked about enough, though. And in my experience, it's often the hardest one to carry. It's not just the violence, it's not just the injustice. It's the moment we realize that some people aren't just tolerating what's happening, they're enjoying it. When cruelty is mocked, celebrated, applauded, or turned into entertainment, something very old in the nervous system gets activated. Because for most of us, there was an unspoken rule we lived by. We don't cheer harm. And when that rule collapses, when people take pleasure in humiliation or in pain, it doesn't just shock us morally, it destabilizes us physiologically. Your body starts asking, if this is allowed, what else is? That question alone is enough to make people feel sick, disoriented, or afraid. When moral injury piles up like this, the nervous system doesn't know where to put it. So some of us go numb, some of us go into rage, some feel despair, and some can't stop watching. None of these responses mean anything is wrong with any one of us. They mean our systems are trying to survive a world that no longer feels predictably human. And this is important to understand. Being outside the epicenter of these attacks doesn't protect your nervous system from what all of this represents. Many of us are watching a global pattern unfold: power consolidation, authoritarian drift, erosion of norms, and our bodies understand exactly what that means, even if it isn't happening on our street yet. That's a lot to hold. When we're living inside this much loss, threat, and moral injury, there's some very understandable pulls that show up. One is the pull to go numb, to shut down, disengage, stop feeling, because staying open hurts too much. Another is the pull toward dehumanization, flattening people into categories or enemies, because complexity feels unbearable when emotions are this high. And then there's the pull toward vengeance, letting anger take the wheel, taking satisfaction in suffering, believing that if they hurt enough, the world will balance itself and something inside us will finally settle. None of these responses make us a bad person or a weak person. They make us human with a nervous system that's under enormous strain. But it's worth slowing down here to notice how far we're letting those pulls take us. Because the moment we take pleasure in suffering, even the suffering of those who would harm us, we begin participating in the very mechanism we're trying to stop: dehumanization as a weapon. And this is where I want to be really clear and really gentle at the same time. Our disgust with these vile bastards isn't hatred. It's mourning the gap between what humans could be and what we keep doing. That grief hurts more for people who never stopped believing decency mattered. We don't have to harden to survive this, and we don't have to collapse to survive this. There's a middle ground where we can care deeply without becoming consumed, where we can feel anger without letting it drag us into places that don't align with who we really are. Some people have nervous systems that are built to distance, compartmentalize, abstract, and convert suffering into numbers or headlines. They're wired to keep pain and remorse at a distance. And some of us aren't wired that way at all. We keep pain and remorse close. And it often doesn't matter if it's our own pain or the pain of others. If yours stays close, like mine does, if you feel this deeply and profoundly in your body, not just in your thoughts and emotions, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're permeable, and healthy permeability requires containment, not shutdown. Witnessing without absorbing is something we all can learn, no matter how permeable we are. It's not indifference, it's self-preservation. And it's something people like us have to learn, not because we care less, but because we care more. When that familiar ache opens, quietly ask yourself, is this mine to carry right now? Am I being called to action? Or is it something that for now I can witness without absorbing? Because the suffering is real. And yes, of course you care. But you do not have to carry the pain of the world inside your body. You're not abandoning humanity by doing this. You're protecting your ability to remain part of it. And honestly, that's no small thing right now. The goal isn't to silence our fight systems, it's to help them sit beside our prefrontal cortex rather than in front of it. I'll make a video about healthy permeability containment soon. But for now, I hope this conversation helped you feel a little less alone and brought a little more understanding to all that you're feeling. You don't need to solve anything. You don't need to decide what comes next. You don't need to stay in this emotional space longer than your body can handle or wants to. I'll be sharing more videos in the coming weeks, especially for nervous systems that feel deeply and care a lot. Videos about how to stay engaged with the world without living in constant activation, how to build resilience while maintaining clarity and capacity, while still caring about all of these injustices and instability, how we can stay regulated in an unjust world. With compassion, Tammy.